Amy, what do you have?
Dr. Cook, Dr. Burke, can you hear me?
Sorry,
can
I
hear
just
you,
have
Matt.
a cold.
Can you hear me, Matt?
I can hear you. Can he hear us?
I
I
can
don't
hear
know.
all of you.
I can hear you all, but I
Hi,
haven't.
Sean, can you hear me?
Yes, I think
Oh,
I hear
Sean,
you.
Massey.
There's no communication in the boardroom. I think I can hear you though.
Lisa got a brand new shiny room that she's staying in now. That was funny. Right in the middle of the
Yes.
meeting.
It's the presidential suite. Your background looks really real though, Steve. I would have never guessed.
I actually wanted a nice one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Carrie.
I'm staying with my home office.
Amy, what is the cold going around? Because Scott has had a head cold that has just taken him down, but like no fever, no GI, but bad.
I've had a lot of patients that start with a real bad head cold and then it like goes into pneumonia. So, you know,
Good evening. Good evening. I will now call the February 11, 2025 meeting of the Ben Lapine Schools Board of Directors to order. I would like to introduce our participants this evening. To my immediate left, Directors Keena Chadwick, Cameron Fisher, Shirley Ocean, and Ross Tomlin. And to my immediate right is Board Clerk Janet Bojanowski, Vice Chair Carrie McPherson Douglas, Director Amy Tatum, Superintendent Steve Cook, and Deputy Superintendent Dr. Lisa Burke are joining us virtually. At this time, will you please rise, remove your hats, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We will now move to agenda item number 3, review of the agenda. Dr. Cook, are there any changes to the agenda?
There is one change to the agenda, and I think Janet Bojanowski has that noticed. We are adding an item. That item is the local service plan item, and I'm not sure where we're adding that, Janet, but that does need to be pushed into the agenda for tonight.
It is going to be added after, it's going to be number 4 instead of district recognitions. We're going to do it after the district recognitions. Steve? So I can ask for a motion from the directors if we can actually move this agenda item.
I move to approve the High Desert ESD. Nope, just kidding.
It's here.
On the agenda.
I move that item number 10, action items, be moved earlier in the agenda immediately following item number 4, district recognitions, and that we add approval of the High Desert ESD local service plan as an action item.
Second that motion? Second. All right, it has been approved in second. Is there any discussion for this matter? Virtually? All right. Hearing that no discussions, we'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. We'll move the motion and we'll move the item after district recognitions. At this time, I will turn it over to Sean Reinhardt, Executive Director of Student Services, to present our Champion for Students. Sean.
Hi. Good evening. So as Chair LeGrand said, my name is Sean Reinhardt. I am the Executive Director of Student Services, and this is Brittany Bryant, who is one of our school counselors at High Desert Middle School. And I am honored to give this month's Champion for Students Award to valued member of the community at High Desert Middle School, Counselor Brittany Bryant. Perfect. They gave me enough time to get my glasses. So last week, we celebrated National School Counseling Week when we honor our school counselors for the crucial role they play in enhancing students' educational experiences. As integral members of the school support team, they provide essential emotional and academic support and help students work through their challenging feelings and relationships with peers. Recognizing and respecting each student's strengths, experiences, and backgrounds, school counselors leverage these assets for effective teaching and learning. Last week, we celebrated all of our school counselors, and this evening, we thank Brittany Bryant. Brittany's nomination came from fellow High Desert staff member Katie Creo, and this is what she said. Brittany is so great at helping students to navigate the torment of middle school adolescent emotions. She has such a calm demeanor and ripples out to all students. Brittany can dig into a tough conversation in a gentle way. The students consistently comment about how she is there for them when they need her. To me, that is the definition of being a champion for students. And High Desert Principal Jessica Riley added, Brittany goes above and beyond for students. She has planned so many activities for students like our Golden Ticket event and our red carpet attendance party. Whatever needs to be done, Brittany will take on. So Brittany, I want you to hold this. And here's what the certificate says that she's holding right now. In recognition of your exceptional dedication and skill as a middle school counselor, guiding students through the challenging waters of adolescence, your calm demeanor and your gentle approach to tough conversations provide a safe and supportive space for students to express themselves. Your ability to be present for students in their times of need makes an invaluable impact on your community, and it's deeply appreciated by all. Ben Lapine Schools is proud to count you among our champion for students. Brittany Bryant.
Welcome.
Group photo, group photo.
Oh, he's got a baby. Hey. Oh, this is cool. Whoa, we're gonna have to move. Wide angle lens.
Congratulations, Brittany. And thank you, Sean, for helping out with that as well. At this time, I would like to invite Director Fisher to read Resolution 1983.
Is that, that's me? I'm doing, yeah. Oh, 84.
Resolution 1983, Classified Employee Appreciation Week. Whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and world. And whereas classified employees are the backbone of our public education system. And whereas classified employees work directly with students, educators, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members. And whereas classified employees support the smooth operation of offices, the safety and maintenance of buildings and property, and the safe transportation, healthy nutrition, and direct instruction of students. And whereas our community depends upon and trusts classified employees to serve students, and whereas classified employees with their diverse talents and true dedication nurture students throughout their school years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors for Ben Lapine Schools proclaims March 3rd through 7th, 2025 to be Classified Employee Appreciation Week, and be it further resolved that the Board of Directors for Ben Lapine Schools strongly encourages all members of our community to join in this observance, recognizing the dedication and hard work of these individuals.
Thank you, Director Fisher. Appreciate it very much. I will now entertain a motion for Resolution 1983.
I move we approve Resolution 1983.
Thank you, Mr. Tomlin.
Second.
Second by Ms. Olson. Is there any discussion on the dais or even virtually? All right. I will now call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you very much. And now I will have Director Tomlin actually read 1984. Yes. Oh, we're gonna go to presentation first. Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry about that. Kayla, how you doing today? Great. Yeah.
Are we live? Okay. I said it last year and I'll say it again. It's a nightmare to hear your own voice in a microphone. Oh. Okay. So I just hold top. Wait. Hold it. there we go. You think it'd be easy. Okay, good evening. For some of you, this might be redundant from last year's presentation. Our department thinks it's really important to take time to gather you all. We don't often get to gather our SRO team, so we want to just take a moment to recognize them and introduce the entire team. We've had some changes. National SRO Appreciation Day has been declared on February 15th by the National Association of School Resource Officers. Unfortunately, this year it falls on a Saturday. So we have asked our schools to participate at any point during the week. Last year, our schools, just to give them a shout out, had such a notable recognition that they were featured in a national journal on how to recognize your school resource officer team. Some of the students present here tonight, I know you remember, were at the board meeting, went above and beyond, and we just want to highlight the dedication that our students give to this appreciation. Okay, to meet the team, I'm not going to have them come up yet. So our leadership is Sergeant Pacheco with Bend PD. He is a floating supervisor who floats through all of the schools. He's currently covering down at Caldera High School right now while one of our officers is on paternity leave. Lieutenant Husband, he's our leadership from the Deschutes County Sheriff's Department. His team is Deputy Woods, who covers all of our Lapine schools, and then Deputy Westfall, who's in our out-of-boundary schools. Our Bend PD team, as many of you know, is Officer Cashman Caceres. She's our longest standing SRO right now. We have Officer Conkey, Officer Russell, Officer Horvath, so he replaced Amy Ward at Bend High, so he has some big shoes to fill. And then Officer Ragland, who we know has had his hands full this year so far. Okay, and then just to close out, here's some more pictures of what they did. I really love the bottom picture. Lapine High School printed out, we all know the stickers for the SROs. They made stickers of the deputy's face and passed them around all last year. Now I will ask our team who's present to come up with us. You gotta stand in front. And then we have our own Champion for Students blurb that we wrote. Just stand front and center, I know you love it. Okay. So our team wrote, we are fortunate as a district to have the relationship with local law enforcement agencies where we can partner and select candidates through a highly competitive process. Those selected must be the embodiment of the NASRO, National Association of School Resource Officers, triad of responsibility, which encompasses the roles educator, informal counselor, and law enforcement officer. If you have ever witnessed these officers and deputies in action, they are treated like celebrities by our students, and rightfully so. Students will stop in their tracks to wave, ask for stickers, and share updates with their SROs. Last year was the first year where we formally encouraged our schools to recognize their SROs for Appreciation Day. And it was amazing to see the outpouring of appreciation that came from our staff and students. Multiple schools had breakfast spreads. One school made custom stickers of their SRO's face to hand out. There was an entire assembly made with a video to celebrate their SRO, custom shirts, and dozens of cards from elementary school students. In attendance with us tonight is Sergeant Joe Pacheco, soon to be lieutenant, Lieutenant Husband, and Deputy Jeff Woods. They are here representing their organizations and serve as model leaders for their teams. These gentlemen, along with their entire teams, work tirelessly to contribute to the sense of safety on our school campuses. Just this year alone, our SROs and SRDs have worked countless hours to teach classes to staff and students, investigate our Safe Oregon tips, mediate disputes between families who have runaway students or chronic attendance problems, and we all know the incident that stands out the most. An SRO responded to a student intending to cause harm in under 2 minutes. Please give a round of applause for our SRO team today and every day for all they do in our schools.
Thank you, Kayla. And now I would like to invite Director Alden DeBase to read Resolution 1984.
Thank you, Chair. It's my great pleasure. Whereas school resource officers, SROs, in Ben Lapine schools provide an essential bridge between youth, families, and law enforcement in supporting student safety, wellness, inclusion, and belonging. Whereas the SRO program embraces a triad concept of school-based support, informal counseling, and education in healthy choices, and law enforcement to support the students and communities they serve. Whereas SROs are trained to counsel, educate, and protect school communities, and as such, lead by example and promote a positive image of law enforcement to children and the communities within Ben Lapine schools. Whereas school resource officers are essential members of the Ben Lapine schools education community in the pursuit of keeping schools and students safe. Now, therefore, Ben Lapine Schools Board of Directors hereby proclaims February 15th as School Resource Officer Appreciation Day.
Thank you, Director. I will now take a motion for Resolution 1984.
I move to approve Resolution 1984.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, now we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, now we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Carrie. Anyone opposed? Thank you very, very much. With the motion that we made earlier to amend the agenda, we will now move to agenda items that we will hear from Sarah Johnson, Superintendent of the High Desert Educational Service District. After Sarah's presentation, we'll go from there. All right, Sarah? Hi, Mary.
Good evening, Board of Directors, Dr. Cook, and your accompanying team. Great to see you tonight. I'm here tonight to present to you the High Desert ESD Local Service Plan, which is collaboratively developed by the regional districts and then presented to the High Desert Board for approval, and then we go out and present it to the regional districts for approval. I've had the privilege of going over this with each board member, but I'm open to any questions tonight and advice from you, Chairperson LeGrand, to in how much detail you would like to have this presented. The local service plan has 4 service categories that are presented according to the requirements of the legislation, and those categories are administrative and support services, children with special needs, school improvement services, and technology services. And as you know, under each category, the local districts develop a list of services that they would like to have available for the districts to choose from. And those items are decided upon by your administrative team, and the money is spent on an as-needed basis. So you don't buy everything in the menu, but you buy those services that your district would like to have. We also offer services through grants and contracts. We also offer some entrepreneurial services. I know you probably have an electronic copy of the LSP, and I don't know how much detail you would like to have me go into, but I'm open to your preference.
Director, is there, how much detail would you like the superintendent to go into, or anyone virtually? Is there any information that you'd like to hear that you heard, received actually from, that you received an email?
Excuse me, how about just a quick overview of those four categories, which services we have elected to be a part of?
All right, I have those available to you. And what I will be presenting then is the services that you have purchased in the past, and you are yet to determine what you would like to purchase this year. In the administrative support, Ben Lapine has purchased legal services, social work support, substitute services. In children with special needs, Ben Lapine School District has purchased applied behavior analysis for students, behavior programs, child find screening, early intervention and early childhood special education. You have requested some training around paths. In the past, you've had a school psych internship. I don't believe you have one this coming year, but it's on the menu if you need it. Special ed alternative summer and extended year for children with special needs. You've accessed special education, autism service, occupational therapy, physical therapy, language and braille, and you've participated in the traumatic brain injury, concussion, return to learn services. Under school improvement, you have purchased alternative learning options. You are a partner in Better Together. You are a partner in career and technical education. In the past, you've accessed Nature Connects. This year, they have gone independent as a 501c3, so you'll negotiate directly with them. You have been a partner in Culture of Care in using that service, but it has been provided to you free of charge. You have used language translation and interpretation, and at times you have collaborated in the regional school safety work. And also sign language interpretation for staff and parents as needed. In the technology service, you have been a participant and a partner in information security and cybersecurity, mostly on a consultant and collaborative basis, and also software and system services on a collaborative and consultant basis. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Directors, have any more questions?
So the process tonight that I'm asking of you is a motion to approve the LSP as presented, and then it will go forward and we will negotiate and collaborate with your superintendent and team to determine what you would like to spend your local service plan dollars on.
I move we approve the LSP for this year.
Is there a second from the directors?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion, directors? All right, I'm hearing no discussion. I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, call the results are as in unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a privilege to collaborate with Ben Lapine School Districts.
Appreciate your work. Thank you very, very much.
Mary?
Okay. We'll now move to the next action item, which is Resolution 1985. At this time, I'll invite Director Chadwick to read Resolution 1985.
Resolution 1985, resolution affirming gender identity, expression, and equity for transgender and gender expansive students and staff. Ben Lapine Schools is dedicated to building a school community where each and every individual is welcomed, appreciated, valued, and empowered to thrive. At the heart of this commitment is our recognition of the inherent dignity, humanity, and worth of all students and staff, including those who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer questioning, two-spirit, intersex, asexual, and more. To honor these commitments, the Board of Directors of Ben Lapine Schools hereby adopts the following resolution. Whereas Ben Lapine Schools is committed to providing a free, equitable, and affirming education to each and every student consistent with Oregon state laws, including ORS 329.025, ORS 339.115, and ORS 339.3473. Whereas Ben Lapine Schools is committed to providing an equitable and affirming work environment to each and every staff member, consistent with Oregon state laws, including ORS 419A.260, ORS 419A.262, ORS 659A.030, and ORS 659A.030. Whereas public schools in Oregon must comply with all federal and state laws prohibiting discrimination, including ORS 659.850, whose purpose is to ensure equity in educational programs and activities. Whereas Ben Lapine Schools unequivocally rejects any effort to diminish, politicize, or label the identities of students, their families, and staff members as controversial or divisive, and affirms that diversity is a profound strength that enriches the district's schools and aligns with its mission and core values. Whereas Ben Lapine Schools acknowledges and affirms the inherent dignity, humanity, and worth of each and every student, their family, and staff member, emphasizing that respectful communication and behavior are fundamental even when perspectives differ, and commits to fostering an environment where mutual respect and thoughtful dialogue are central. Whereas Ben Lapine Schools commits to supporting students by implementing initiatives such as inclusive curriculum, equity-focused programs, spaces of support, and comprehensive student services that promote belonging, mental health, and academic success in safe and affirming school environments that honor the dignity and identity of every student. And whereas Ben Lapine Schools aligns with the Oregon Department of Education's LGBTQ Two-Spirit IA+ Student Success Plan, which provides a framework for addressing barriers to success for LGBTQ Two-Spirit IA+ students and families, and commits to creating schools where every individual feels welcome, seen, valued, and supported. Therefore, be it resolved that Ben Lapine Schools reaffirms the principles of every student belongs, ensuring every student experiences a safe, inclusive, and affirming school environment where their unique identities are valued as essential to the community's strength and unity. Commits to implementing equity-based policies and practices that actively dismantle barriers to inclusion and ensure every student, family, and staff member is empowered to thrive. Reaffirms that district practices reflect the district's dedication to equity, inclusion, and belonging, creating environments where every student, family, and staff member feels seen, heard, valued, and supported. Reaffirms that every student, family, and staff member is honored, celebrated, and uplifted, fostering a community rooted in mutual respect and shared humanity. This resolution is intended to be consistent with the district's legal obligations under federal and state law. Accordingly, this resolution shall be interpreted as not to violate any requirement of federal or state law. We pass this resolution in recognition of our belief that each and every student, family, and staff member are valued and empowered within the Ben Lapine school communities.
Thank you, Director Chadwick. Appreciate it. I will now move to approve of Resolution 1985.
I move to approve Resolution 1985.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion of this matter? All right. Hearing,
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just have one tiny addition I'm wondering if could be added to the title, and that includes sexual identity. I don't know if it's too much to add, or, but
We would like to say,
affirming sexual identity, gender identity, expression, and equity for transition, or something to that extent. If anybody else has any thoughts.
you make that change.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Oh, thanks for the discussion.
Do
Appreciate
we
it.
need another motion on that?
Yes.
I move to approve Resolution 1985 as amended.
All right. I'd like a second.
Second.
All right. Any additional discussion or any changes virtually? All right. Hearing no additional discussion, I will now call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Results are unanimous. Thank you very, very much. And now, we would like to hear from our Student Voice Council.
Hi, my name is Claire Kowalski, and I'm a junior at Caldera High School. Our last meeting was held virtually due to weather, so there weren't many members present. The few of us in attendance, however, agreed on creating CVC shirts and worked to further our progress in our small groups, mental health, college and career readiness, and bias incident lessons. We are currently working on creating surveys that can be shared with schools to get feedback from students. Once we have that information, we will share it. Our next steps are to perfect the surveys and follow up with the rest of the council. We hope to finalize the surveys before March's meeting. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ben Schnur from Realms. I'm a junior, and I think Claire covered it, so yeah.
Thank you for that report. Directors, do you have any questions for the Student Voice Council at all?
I have a question. Thanks for being here. With regard to the survey, can you give us a few examples of what you're asking of folks?
We're still in the middle of putting them together, but they would be one survey per small group. So we would have one focused on understanding how students feel about college and career readiness and like how prepared they feel in their school currently. And then we would have one for mental health and bias incident lessons just to get some student perspective and how they feel and what we should act on.
Claire, will those be administered to everybody at the school or through a particular content area, class, or?
I think it would be through everybody, every student to take.
Okay, great.
Just saying thank you.
Virtually, do we have any questions for the Student Voice Council? All right, well, thank you all for your commitment and being here. Appreciate it very, very much. Please be safe out on the road driving, please, when y'all gotta go home today. All right, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Normally we would have public comment at this time, but we had no one sign up or submit any public comments, so we're gonna go to our next agenda item. Okay. Okay, we'll now move to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Director. Is there a second on this motion?
I second.
Thank you. All right. Is there any requests or to remove anything from the consent agenda? Virtually, anything to remove from the consent agenda? All right. Since there's no request for any changes, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, I believe the ayes had it. Thank you. All right. All right, at this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Cook for consent for information.
Thank you, Chair LeGrand. In the consent for information, you will find a couple of things. First one, you will find additional information regarding the caffeine discussion that took place a couple of meetings ago in regard to the local wellness policy EFA-AP. We are asking our wellness committee as well as our Student Voice Council to review this during upcoming meetings, and we will look forward to reporting back to you at a later date with those findings. Also, we have several policies that the district is adopting. IKA-AR, grades and credit, has been updated to align with current district practices. This regulation went through review with our advisory committees as well as district and union leadership. Also, JECD-AP, the assignment of students to courses, is a new administrative policy. It went out for public feedback last month, and although we didn't receive public feedback, we did receive some internal feedback. You will note that the additional changes are in green and found on that document. policy JFG-AR, student searches, was in the board packet last month. And we actually received some, after reviewing feedback from the board, we also received some additional feedback that made some more changes that you will notice in section 4F. And you will notice there were 4 different places where the green font was changed to modify that language. And then JN-AR, student fees, fines, and charges, has been updated to align with current district practices and OSBA's sample policy. It has also been recoded from an administrative regulation to an administrative policy. And finally, JNA-AR, retention of student educational records, grade reports, and/or diplomas is being deleted as the language has been incorporated in the aforementioned JN-AR.
Thank you, Dr. Cook. Appreciate it very much. Director, do you have any questions for Dr. Cook or any of these consent for information at all?
I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to receiving our feedback and also making some of the updates, especially when it involved student searches and students having the right to identify what gender they are and who gets to do a search on them based on their gender identity.
Directors on the dais or virtually, you have any with consent agenda or any concerns or any comments? All right, thank you. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, Dr. Cook. And now we will be turning it over to Ms. Roberts. Julie? Julie here? Richards, I'm sorry, Ms. Richards, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Julie, I'm so sorry. I know better, my bad.
I'm gonna add another chair here. All right, thank you. All right, thank you for having us. I'm Julie Richards, the Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, and this is Carrie Morton. She is our lead math coach, and I've worked with Carrie for the last 11 years now, and the last 3 years we've been working on this math curriculum adoption. And Carrie, she is our lead math coach, but she's also a champion of mathematics instruction here in our district and around the state. So I've been lucky enough to be a part of this process with her, and we're lucky enough to have her as part of this work with us. Can we get our slides to pop up? Put my glasses on. And then, oh, I always struggle to make this clicker work, so we'll see how we do. Perfect. Okay, it worked. Yeah. All right, so 3 years ago, we started the math curriculum review process. And we started that process first with listening sessions with students. So first of all, we had 30 teachers and administrators, specialists as part of our curriculum review team. And we started with listening sessions. So we had listening sessions with students, with teachers, with community members. And then we brought all of that feedback back to our team. And then we did some readings with research. And one of those books that we read was Catalyzing Change. And it's initiating critical conversations. And one of the things that we learned through that work is really around students' positive identities around mathematics and how important that is to our work. And not only students' positive identities, but teachers' positive identities around mathematics. So we've really centered our work around that. And then in addition to that, how important it is for us to structure our mathematics classrooms around students as doers of mathematics, and that students really need to make sense of mathematics and be able to critique the world around mathematics. So in that first year, our work was really around establishing our core beliefs. And we spent our first year doing that. And then in our second year, we spent the year really in professional learning. So the entire team went through a year of professional learning, and Carrie will talk about what we did in just a moment. And then this year, our entire year has spent field testing. We field tested 3 different curriculums, and we'll talk more about that process here in a moment. And we'll talk about which one rose to the top, and we'll share with you information around that. And then next year will be our implementation year of that work. And then, so we'll be implementing the materials next year, putting those in place in all of our classrooms, and then the following year will be that ongoing professional learning along the way. So Carrie's gonna share a little bit about that professional learning year that we went through.
All right, so it was pretty powerful to have. We ended up with a little bonus year, and so the teachers were able to participate in a 3-day seminar where we really focused on equitable and mathematically productive engagement. And then they also, during the second summer, they also did a 2-day seminar where we focused on responding to students' current understanding. And during the school year, so both of those were during the summer. And then during the school year, they were able to participate in Math Studios. And so during the 23-24 school year, we spent time really thinking about how are these equitable practices playing out in classrooms? How are all students being engaged? And then during this school year, the 24-25 school year, the teachers were field testing materials. So then we were able to have the studios where we are using the field testing materials and really trying to decide, like, how are these equitable practices playing out with our students with this materials. And then during the summer, so last summer, because we had that little bonus year, that whole year was funded by a project from OSU and ODE with Accelerated Learning K-8 projects. And so I had a team that came with me to Corvallis, and they were able to present their ideas about equitable practices and how that was impacting their students. So throughout all 3 years, one of our focuses has really been on engaging students in mathematically productive ways to think and interact together, especially getting them to really justify and generalize their mathematical ideas. And some of the things that we incorporated were really thinking about how do these teaching routines help us support students in engaging in the habits of mind, habits of interaction, and especially thinking about like those teaching actions that we embed in those routines to really engage kids in deep mathematical thinking.
All right, so as part of our field testing, we had 3 different curriculums that we field tested, and one of those rose to the top, and that curriculum is Amplify Desmos Math. And this is a new program that just was published, and it's a program that is based on illustrative math, which is not a new program. So our 6 through 8 already uses Amplify Desmos, so we'll be aligned K-8 after this year. So some of the strengths that rose to the top from our field testers are student feedback. So the program is really strong in constructive feedback, feedback around the strategies, the math ideas. It's really strong in that strengths, like asset-based, like that mistakes are a good thing and that we learn from our mistakes. Mistakes provide us with opportunities to revise our thinking. One of the other strengths is around student understanding, that mathematics isn't something you do alone, that mathematics is a collaborative activity. And so the curriculum is really structured around collaborative practices. In addition to that, another strength is around student engagement. So the structures that are in place in Amplify Desmos are really are structures that are around student engagement. And that is sustained throughout each and every lesson in the program.
So, one of the way the lesson is designed, so every lesson has a warm-up and then there's always 2 to 3 activities that go with it that have the same cycle of inquiry where you launch it, you monitor, and then you make connections. And then there's always this synthesis at the end of the lesson where it kind of brings it all together for the students. And then there's some reinforcement activities as well. And these are some of the reinforcement activities. So they always have these support, strengthen, and stretch activities. So teachers can differentiate for where students are and give them support or give them an extension if that's what they need. The program also really builds in this math identity where every day starts with students really thinking about how they are part of the math class. And so there's always a little reflection question for students to respond to and think about, and then teachers can go back to it. Another nice thing that's built into the program are the math language routines, and these really support students who need support accessing English language or just accessing language at all, and they're routines that help students be able to communicate their math ideas with each other. And now, we're going to do some math together.
We like to always bring you into the math with us.
All right, so this is one of the warm-ups. It is a 4th grade warm-up. And it's, Thanks. I do have a teacher voice though, and I can shout. So this activity is called Which One Doesn't Belong, and it's built into the program. And the way it works is that there is a reason for each one of those to not belong. So there's no wrong answer. There is a reason for each one of those to not belong. So take a moment just to think about, so which one doesn't belong and why? And you can put your thumb up when you have, I know why one of those doesn't belong. And maybe you have another one. You can think of a second one. You can put a finger up. Audience, you can participate too. So which one doesn't belong? Take a moment to think about that. All right, find a buddy next to you and share with them which one you think doesn't belong. How about the person with the longest hair? You can share first. Which one doesn't belong and why? Give it to the person.
We talked about, we were trying to generate ideas for each one of why they wouldn't belong, but 17 because it's indivisible. Or is that a prime? What was that? Prime?
What did you say about 17?
The only prime.
It's
the only prime number.
Ooh, prime. What does prime mean?
Can't divide it.
Can't divide it equally? Sorry, we need 2 mics. I guess my teacher voice isn't loud enough. Oh, okay. So what was another, did the audience have another one that doesn't belong? What one did you think? Does your mic turn on?
4, because it's smaller and not 2 digits, I guess.
All right, one more, Stephanie.
33, because it has 2 of the same number. 33, because it has 2 of the same number.
So you see a 3 and a 3. Did anybody come up with a reason for why 28 didn't belong?
because I could think of a reason for the other numbers, but not it.
I do this all the time.
The sum of 2 and 8 is a 2-digit number, and none of the others are.
Mine was it's the only 2-digit number that they are both even.
All right, thank you. So this activity just really warms up the kids, and they go into other activities that focus on the prime number, and so it really just brings all kids into the math thinking, and anybody can access this by thinking about which one doesn't belong. All right, so next up, we have 3 teachers here that are just gonna share quickly, real quick, 30 seconds each, some stories from their classroom. All right, come on up.
And while y'all getting seated, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for taking time out your day.
Thank you for having us. Well, those are my kiddos right there in the middle. I am Michelle Zeiger, and I'm honored to say this is my 14th year teaching in Ben Lompoc Schools. I taught at R.U. Jewell Elementary for 12 years and just moved over last school year to Highland Magnet School, and I'm teaching first grade. And like I said, that middle photo, those are my first graders engaging with the curriculum. And because I'm so nervous, I printed it, so I'm going to read my statement. I want to share how much the Amplify Desmos math program has transformed my first grade classroom. Its interactive features and open-ended prompts really engage the students and spark some fantastic collaborative conversations. It's wonderful to see every student sharing their thoughts and strategies, making sure that all voices are heard and celebrated. I also appreciate how well organized the program is for us teachers. It makes lesson facilitation and tracking student progress a breeze, so we can focus more on learning and collaboration. Most importantly, and this is where I get emotional, so bear with me, by offering accessible entry points for everyone, I'm already losing it. Amplify creates a supportive learning environment where every student can join in and thrive in math discussions. This not only fosters deep critical thinking, but also helps build a positive math identity for each child. I strongly recommend Amplify Desmos Math as our new K-5 curriculum.
I don't feel like there's much to add after that. That was pretty on it. I think the part that stands out the most to me is we spent, as she said, or as they spoke to, the last 3 years really focused on learning as teachers. And my name's Christina Ebner. I have a 3-4 blend this year at Lapine Elementary. And this is my, I think, 11th year in Ben Lapine, I think. And what I really learned is the part where Carrie was talking about not only the math identity of our students, but the math identity of our teachers. I was one of those teachers that math was not part of my positive identity. Oftentimes I felt like I was missing something with students. And so that was partly why I wanted to be on this curriculum adoption team, was to really challenge myself and to learn. And as we went through this process, we have learned so many best practices and strategies for being stronger math teachers and developing identity in teachers as you can do math and you are good at teaching it while the students are doing it with you. And that's been really impactful. And through that, learning those strategies, it was really important to me when we chose a curriculum that we could easily give those strategies to our colleagues without them having been able to go through that 3-year process with us. That was really important to me. And so it was really exciting when we came down to this choice to feel like, yes, I can have my team join me, and this curriculum lends itself to just doing those best practices that are creating equity in math for students, that are helping teachers feel confident in their ability as a math teacher. and also just confident in using the curriculum the way that it was intended to do and having integrity with the curriculum. That can be really hard when it's new to you. And so that was something that was really important to me as well. I think my favorite part of it with students is that they, kind of what Michelle alluded to with their wanting to do it. My class, when I told them that this was the one the curriculum team had narrowed it down to, they all cheered and they were so adorable about it and so excited that they were part of that process, because they knew what my meetings were for and what we were doing. But their ability to talk to each other about math was just so fun to watch, and their confidence grow. Even my students that are, I would say, furthest from accessing it on a regular basis, being willing to do vertical surface work with math problems and talk it out, and just seeing that confidence develop with this curriculum was really exciting and to be a part of. So I definitely am proposing that as well, that this is what we adopted, and I'm really excited about it.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Johnson. I'm getting my voice back. So I apologize, but I'm glad there's a mic here. I teach first grade at Pine Ridge Elementary, and this is my 18th year in the school district. I worked with Carrie for a very long time, for 18 years, doing studio, and I got to be the studio teacher for our work this year in deciding on a curriculum. And one of my favorite pieces of the Amplify curriculum is the building math identity and community connection conversations that are at the beginning of each lesson. Because I feel as a first grade teacher, my job is to make sure that my students understand that they are math students and learners of math and doers of math forever. Not just, when you're older in high school or in college, it's right now. And you're the problem solvers of the future. So, for example, one of the questions that I asked last week was, the statement is, I am a doer of math. And with each unit, there's a storyline. So kids get connected to the storyline that's a part of the math that they're doing and having real life experiences. The first unit that we did together, we were working on a farm in Hawaii. So we got to learn about farming, and we got to learn about what you could farm in Hawaii, because it's definitely different than in Bend. And so this time, we're learning about a girl named Pia and her nonna, and they are at a potluck, and we're examining different foods and their shapes. And Pia's neighbors shared special foods at the potluck, and my students had a discussion around what do they share in math class. And so they got to share with their partners what they share in math class, and then they got to share with the group. And they're sharing what they feel like they share in the math class were their ideas, their noticings, their wonderings, their pictures, their numbers, tools, and their strategies. And those were their words. So if they can identify those as mathematicians already at 6 years old, I think we're on the right path for developing thinkers of the future and problem solvers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you to those very
Yeah, thank
passionate
you.
teachers. Appreciate them very much. They've been instrumental in this work. So our next steps for the next month, we will take feedback. We will be taking feedback digitally. We will have displays in every school with iPads and links, QR codes for our families and staff to give additional feedback if they would like. We will share out in the family spotlights and through social media as well if any additional feedback would like to be given. And we'll share that feedback back with you as well in the next month. And then after that, we'll begin, when we come back to you on March 11th, after that, we will begin our professional learning planning with the hopes of launching our first professional learning on April 24th at our last Educator Network Day of the year, and then beginning our professional learning planning for June and August after that. So
Thank you for your time today, and do you have any questions for us?
Directors?
I would just like to say I really think this work is amazingly important. I love that I read in there that you are working to instill a love of math to the students, because that's so important. I had so many college students that came in my classes and said they couldn't do math, they were afraid of math, and just had it just was a block. And so the more we can do to get kids to understand that math can be fun and enjoyable, and it's so important to all parts of our life. So thank you for your work.
We know that you had an extra year to work on this, but we know that it's one more thing for the rest of the elementary staff to learn and to do. But it sounds like the professional learning has really been extensive. So thanks for doing that, and thanks for taking your time to be sure that the recommendation is really what we think our kids need.
Anyone virtually have any questions?
Yeah, I just had a couple questions, but I think they were kind of answered during the presentation. So one of them is just how much of it is iPad based and like gamified learning? Because I know that's been a concern of our community. So that's the first question.
Okay, I'll answer that. You okay? So the way, because it's built on Desmos, so middle school has a lot more digital activities than what elementary does. So in like K1, they really only have like one digital activity, so not even a lesson. So it's not the whole lesson. It's like a 10-minute thing that is a digital activity that they do. And the nice thing about it is it's not, just go do the activity. Instead, it is teacher directed, but it's providing the students instant feedback on what they're responding to. And then as it progresses in grade levels like 3, 4, 5, they may have like one activity a week. That would be digital. However, it is totally paper-based, so you can choose as a teacher to do it on paper as well if you don't want that digital component.
Awesome, thank you. And then my next question, which I also feel like was kind of answered, is that the math curriculum does allow for differentiation, so it can serve students who are high achieving and need advanced math, as well as students who are struggling and need additional supports.
Yeah, I'll
But
just
that
add,
is all built into the curriculum.
I'll just add on to that. So each lesson has a show what you know, where there's a support, a strengthen, and a stretch. So within that, there's an additional mini lesson, centers, extensions for students with it that is built into each lesson.
Okay. Is there the opportunity for TAG students who can accelerate to accelerate through it at a different rate than their peers?
There is access to all grade levels. So every teacher will have access to all grade levels within the curriculum.
So Steve and Lisa, can you talk about that from a policy perspective, how we're serving high achieving math students and if we're allowing acceleration through this curriculum for students who can progress faster?
What do you mean by, are we allowing acceleration?
Well, you and I have had these conversations, right, about acceleration in math and how we're really trying to discourage online because of, low completion rates with Ben Lapine Online for students who have accelerated. And so, with our last TAG policy that we adopted, we took acceleration out of that as a strategy, even though that is an identified TAG strategy. So I want to make sure as we adopt curriculum that there is opportunity for students to accelerate to meet their level of learning needs.
Yeah, and I think as it relates to specifically that piece of acceleration, we should continue to talk about that because we do have options for that currently. So I think the full scale of us like axing that was maybe premature. Um, I think though within this program, each student would progress at the rate that they need and the rate that their student or their teacher rather would be able to determine like hey, I'm noticing you're very far, you're in the stretch zone continuously. We need to make a move for that. Sometimes for classroom teachers, that means that like an entire group is recognized in that way. Sometimes it's a very individual decision, and sometimes it's a large scale factor. So I think that then what I think is promising in a curriculum like this is that could be done almost like unit by unit versus just saying this is how you're going to progress always every time, regardless of the topic that you're presented with. So I think just having teachers have those options, I don't think we're ever going to say you are barred from, allowing a student to move forward.
We have, I'll just double down that I think we should continue to be more specific about that and provide more guidance about that, because we've definitely heard numerous stories of individual teachers not allowing students to progress, even when technology was available. And so it could be a clarification or a support that teachers need. And just, I understand how difficult it can be to have students all over the place as well. And so just helping teachers navigate that in a way that supports students to advance as much as possible, I think is something that we should continue to work on. And then just wanted to say thank you to Miss Johnson. I have a child who is lucky enough to be in her class, and she definitely brings home like the idea of noticing. She's always telling us she'll see a number in, on a street sign, and she'll be like, Mom, I noticed that, that number is 2 digits or whatever it is, but just the idea that is definitely following her home, and that she sees herself as a mathematician and feels confident that she can notice things about numbers, even though she's 7. So thank you.
All right. Any other additional questions, directors? My questions I have really quick. On the reinforcement piece, how do you judge if they have application or can apply the information they have learned to be able to utilize it? Is that part of that reinforcement? And then the other piece is, where was it at? Here's my question. I wrote it down. I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, yes, there's the question. Any struggles, any setbacks, any concerns from, just being able to go through this adoption so far? Is any concerns so far?
Concerns in what way?
Everything you have seen or popped up, or like anything in general. Like I said, I mean, because we always say how positive something is. Are there any drawbacks or any concerns or issues? Because we'd like to know about those as well.
I mean, I think, yeah, like in terms of concerns, like I think we want to make sure that we have the best professional learning plan in place that we can. And that would be our main concern at this point, is getting that in place and making sure that we have the time and space to give our teachers what they need, and making sure that we have the time to give them the training that they need along the way.
And that's got a question. Can you ask about what types of manipulative are involved in the program? Am I saying that right, Dr. Burke? Manipulative, yes, involvement in the program. I was saying that right. I was like, right. Right, yeah, manipulatives. Yes, that's what I said. Are there any involved in this program? Right.
So the program does come with manipulatives that, like a classroom kit that the students can use. There's also digital manipulatives. I know, especially as the kids get a little older, the teachers sometimes like to use digital manipulatives instead of the physical ones, but every teacher will also have physical tools.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it very, very much. And now we'll turn it over to Katie Legacy.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us tonight to talk about a few of our secondary programs. Before we start our presentation, just want to give a shout out to the SROs and the deputies. I'm just so grateful for that partnership, and I'm glad that we're appreciating this week and that Kayla gave such a lovely presentation. So shout out to them. So thanks. So my name is Katie Legacy. I'm Executive Director of High School Programs, and I have several people with me here tonight for our short presentation. Lisa Kion, who is our CTE coordinator. She's a teacher on special assignment. She works part-time at Ben High, and then we also hired her mid-year as a part-time CTE TOSA. Absolutely fabulous to work with. Really appreciate you, Lisa. And then I also invited two of our high school principals, Dr. Lakeisha Clark is here with us this evening, and then also Chris Boyd. So Lakeisha is the principal at Ben Tech Academy. Chris Boyd is the principal at Caldera. And I invited them to bring some of their superstar teachers and students to be with us tonight. So you'll be hearing from Faith and Phoebe, Michaela and Daniel from Ben Tech Academy. And also Becky Tucker, who's a teacher at Caldera High School, and Chloe Grisson. So that her name might sound familiar to you because she's on our Student Voice Council. So what Lisa and I are going to do briefly is just go through some data, kind of go through that quickly. If you have any questions, obviously we can answer those. But we really want to get to the student stories about how some of these programs are really impacting them in their schools. So that's kind of the focus for our time tonight. So just an overview of specifically advanced placement. We refer to it as AP, college dual credit, international baccalaureate program, which is housed at Bend High School. And then we're also going to talk about CTE. So we have 166 course offerings across all of our 7 high schools. You can see the information there. We do offer 42 college dual credit courses, and what those are courses that are taught by high school teachers who become eligible to teach college level coursework. They are required to articulate their course with a college level instructor. Our main college that we work with is COCC, but we also have several other partnerships in colleges around the state. But that's a pretty exciting opportunity for students to get high school credit and college credit in their home high school, taking college level coursework. So we're really excited about that. These are all the advanced placement courses that we offer. Not going to list all, go through all those, but in general, you can see there's quite a wide range of different offerings for students. Some of them are offered every other year because sometimes we don't have a full class to offer each course every year. So like, for example, AP Art History is one that we rotate every other year, AP French Language and Culture, depending on our numbers. College dual credit, these are all of our courses that we currently offer. As you can see, some of those are CTE. Many of these courses are embedded in our AP courses as well, which is pretty exciting. So a student can sign up for the college dual credit and also take the AP test. So they have a couple different ways that they can earn their college credit. So we're excited about that program. And as you can see, there's quite a few through our FFA program. This is a list of all the AP courses that have embedded college dual credit courses, and credits, 8 in particular. So for example, a student can take an AP psychology class and earn 4 credits the first semester and 4 credits the second semester, so potentially 8 by the end of the school year. It's a pretty exciting opportunity, and they can take the AP test as well if they choose to do that. As you can see, a lot of different college partnerships. Again, Central Oregon Community College is our #1 partner. They're amazing to work with. We really appreciate their partnership. We've worked with them for a long time. But as you can see, we have partnerships with many other colleges. And usually we work with other colleges because COCC just simply doesn't offer the program. And so then we kind of research and find out what schools do offer the programs and partner with them. These are all of our international baccalaureate courses that we offer at Bend High School. And so that's a program that starts in junior year and senior year. Students can earn an IB diploma, which is a very robust program. pretty intensive their last couple of years of high school, or we just have a lot of students who want to take IB courses and they aren't necessarily working towards their diploma. So that's a great option as well. And then in terms of just outreach and initiatives to foster greater access and inclusion for all students, you know that we have adopted the School Links system, K-12, for all of our students, and it's really a college and career readiness program. It's kind of focused on our life and career readiness goal. And so students do their planning, their 4-year planning. They've been doing that this year, actually getting ready for forecasting. They're going to put all their forecasting into School Links. We also have, in case you're interested in an opportunity to be in our high schools, CTE Elective Exploration Fly-Up Day would be a great time for you to consider being in our high schools. That's an event that happens on March 3rd. It's from 11 to 12. And that's when all of our 8th graders, rising 9th graders, will actually be bused to their high school where they'll be attending next year. And we have, they select, before they get to the school, they select all the different possible electives they want to learn about. A lot of them are CTE. We also include things like yearbook and art and music, so students have the opportunity. So they basically prioritize which classes they want to see. I think they can see 5 different rotations during that time period. Also, our high schools are offering course fairs, so that's for their current high school students to learn about all the different elective options and CTE options for students. And then we have a real focus on equal access for all of our accelerated programming to ensure that we remove barriers for students to access those programs. And the one in particular is at Mountain View High School. We continue to work on access at all of our high schools, so every student feels like they can be successful in an IB, an AP, a college dual credit course. So now Lisa's going to talk a little bit about CTE.
Awesome, great, thank you. And thank you everyone for having me. I am really excited to be here and to be able to have this opportunity to talk with you about CTE. As you can see from the graphic, we have numerous CTE options available for students in Ben Lapine School District. And, oh, sorry. We have 34 programs all together in 7 of the high schools. Most, I should say, are aligned with community college partners, or they're at least working with community. It might not be all dual credit, but they're all at least working with community college partners. And 12 have industry certifications. And industry certifications are really important because that is something that's actually vetted by industry, that actually has meaning when the student graduates with that they can take to industry, and the industry will recognize that and help them get further along in their career aspirations. So examples, we have Automotive Service Excellence, Boley Pre-Apprenticeship, American Welding Society, that's AWS, so they get certain certificates for welding, first aid, CPR, wildland firefighter, and serve safe food handlers. We would love to get more of these. For a while, there was a 5-year kind of window to get one to go through. They've changed that, so we're going to be trying to work with some industry and get more certifications available for our students. Let's see. So why CTE? This is a huge question. I thought of all these things that I can say, but I know that we have some students who are really eager to get up here and talk, and they can probably speak to it a lot better than I can. So I'm going to try and gloss over some of that, even though I really want to talk about it. But I will give you the stats really quick, and they will be the evidence of why these stats are true. We had, CTE participants, that's students who took at least one CTE class, graduated a 91.3% rate. So that's up from last year, which is really nice to see. CTE concentrators, those are students who took 2 or more classes. They graduated at a greater than 95% rate. So that's pretty impressive. And those are students you think about, that could be 2 or 3 classes that find something that they like. They find their niche, which will be some of these students here. So, and that really sometimes gives them that why to come to school and stick with something, something relevant to them. So for the 23-24 school year, we had 1,122 out of our total sample size of 1,306 students who graduated that earned over half a credit in CTE. And 357 earned 2 or more credits in CTE. So it's pretty impressive when you think that that's 86% of the students participated in CTE in Ben Lapine schools. One thing I just really wanted to touch on super quick was that sometimes, we think of CTE as just our classes and programs, but CTE really reaches beyond those boundaries, and it's one of those programs that really makes that connection between our schools and our stakeholders and community. I think this is really important and a really, something that's really unique to CTE. And it's a lot of work for the schools and the teachers, but it really makes a huge difference. Some examples of this would be CTE showcases. So I know some of you have been to Bend High's CTE showcase. That's where teachers and students really show off what they've been doing over the year, and students and stakeholders, industry supporters can come in and see what's going on. It really makes some great connections between not just our students and their potential employers, but it also leads to a lot of collaboration with industry and support from industry in various ways. So CTE Think Tank Lapine is currently inviting industry in to work with them and think of ways they can expand their programs. Mountain View is having, and I know some of you might be joining this, industry pop-in, inviting, I think I just heard they have 24 industry members that are going to be coming and touring their CTE programs and learning from students and teachers about what's going on in their classes. So, so there's also advisory committees and other ways, and I could go on and on, but just a myriad of ways that the community gets involved with our CTE program, which leads to a lot of different types of support, as you can see on the slide. In addition to that, CTE also provides students with leadership opportunities, and you're going to be hearing from some of the students on some of those opportunities, so I'll go ahead and skip over that as well. One of the other really important things for our students at Ben Lapine schools is to get that experience to know if what they're doing is something what they want to continue doing. It's a really important part of the educational process, and Youth Career Connect is partnering with Ben Lapine schools to be able to offer these internships to students. So there's currently 2 YCC internship staff members connected with students that help with these work-based internship opportunities. And this is not just for CTE students, this is open to all students in the Ben Lapine School District. And they work on internships, job shadows, field trips, and guest speakers. Anything you want to add to that?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you.
All right, down just a few data slides for you. I asked IT to pull some data for us. So as you can see, there's an increase in the number of students taking at least one AP class and one IB class. We went down a little bit, now we're going back up. CTE, we're only able to get those first 2 years in terms of numbers of students taking in one class in CTE. And I continue to have the IT look that data up for you in the future, and we can share that with you. And this breaks it down, just aggregates the data a bit, looking at students with disabilities taking at least one class. As you can see, those numbers are going up, which is good. These are EVER ELL students taking at least one class in each of those areas. Again, the trend is going in the right direction. That's a positive. Students from historically underserved ethnic groups taking at least one class. So in general, we're seeing that more students are taking AP and IB overall and CTE based on the first 2 years. So that's a positive. That's what we want to see. So now the next 2 kind of areas that we want to focus for you is just those teams of students and administrators, and that we have Becky here as a teacher from Caldera to just highlight for you some of their stories about how these programs have impacted the student experiences at our high schools. So I'd like to invite our students from Ben Tech Academy to come up, and we're going to put 4 chairs up here so you guys can all sit up here. So Faith, are you going to take the lead for us? All right.
Yeah, no, you're on the other side. Okay. First off, I would like to say thank you for having us. My name is Faith Brew. I am a senior at Ben Tech Academy, as well as one of the co-presidents. Kirabella Lasitra is the other co-president. However, she was not able to be here with us tonight. So I have been attending BTA since I was a freshman, and not only does our school constantly look for opportunities of change and growth, but we also look for opportunities for our CTE programs. And I am mainly in both the business leadership program as well as the medical program. So for me, some experiences that I've had with the business program is that I've been in leadership for all 4 of my years. My freshman year, I started out by just kind of being there, being an extra set of hands, helping with assemblies as needed, as well as our production team. To then my sophomore year, where I put on my first fundraiser and my first ever dance, which was a kickoff barn dance. And we've been continuing both of those throughout all of my high school. And then last year, when I was a junior, I was promoted to being the events and fundraisers coordinator, which I planned many more events and many more fundraisers, such as prom, winter formal, and again, our barn dance, as well as a Willamette Valley Pie fundraiser, which we raised over $1,000 both last year and this year, which is really wonderful for our school and to be able to put on our events for our school's community. And now this year, where I am the co-president and I oversee events, fundraisers, as well as school spirits, and a little bit of production as well. And some skills that I've gained from my business leadership is, one, public speaking. If you would have asked freshman me to come out here and speak, whether it's at an assembly or speak to you guys, I would have said no way. But through the opportunities that I have had, I've really been able to grow that, as well as a collaboration. I work with many people with events, as well as our Spirit Weeks, getting feedback from our students, making sure how can we get everybody engaged, as well as leading, because as I think everybody's had that one boss or that one person that they've worked under where they were being bossed at rather than being led. And so I feel I have been under different leadership of different students from my school, and through that I was able to develop my own form of leadership. And I was also given the opportunity, along with 5 other students, to go to a project called the Hatfields Futures Project, which is an initiative. It's a program that allows high school students to come up with new ways to better Oregon by 2050, with a main focus of environmental, social, and economical changes. And for those who do not know, as of 2022, Oregon is ranked the 2nd highest out of all 50 states for substance abuse. And every member of the group that I was a part of has been negatively impacted by substance abuse in some way, shape, or form. And along with this, we've seen a growing rise in opioid usage, with a main focus currently of fentanyl and the dangers of it due to uneducation and unaware of them using this drug at the time. So with that, we came up with a program called Full Stop, and we presented our program Full Stop, which is a program that is committed to raising awareness, education, and prevention around opioids and all substance abuse around, with a current focus of fentanyl usage, as we have seen that is the biggest opioid that is being used by not only youth, but also middle-aged and older generations. And we presented this project, and we were awarded $1,000 to be able to put this into action, which I hope to see. I hope to come back and pitch this program to you guys once more to further extend and be able to get it up and running before I graduate. And with that being said, a couple of opportunities that I've had with our medical program is our health and occupations class where we go to St. Charles, COPA, and a vet clinic last year. And here at St. Charles, it helped me open doors and also close doors on career paths that I thought I was interested in, but then actually being in it, I was like, no, that's not for me. And so one of these were being the labor and delivery room. I never really thought of this career before. And then once actually being in there, I really did experience the beauty of life and how it is so impactful, and that I discovered that is a career path I want to pursue versus the emergency room. When I got a shadow of that, I was like, I don't think this is for me. And so with that being my spill, I'm going to pass it off to another medical academy student, Miss Phoebe.
Hello, my name is Phoebe Karpstein. I am the future valedictorian of Bentech Academy, class of 2025. I mean, it's not set in stone, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win. I am part of the medical academy. I've been at BTA since I was freshman year, and if I was gonna be honest with you guys, I was a little skeptical about going to Bentech Academy. At first, I was like, it's a smaller school, probably not gonna have a lot of connection with people. I was also worried about academic-wise because I knew I needed to lock in high school to get to where I wanna be. But it turned out Bentech Academy has changed so much in who I am and how I wanna go through life in a really positive way. And that is because of the medical academy. We've had 2 teachers as our medical. We had Heather Johnson, who I love dearly, and then we got our new teacher, Dr. Marty Cadena, who I love so much. He's taught me not only that medicine is not just about diagnosing and treating, it's also about understanding and listening and being empathetic to the patient, because if you can't listen, if you can't understand, you're not gonna be a good caregiver. And I've learned that through his classes multiple times. I'm actually in rotations this trimester, and I witnessed something, like Faith said, it opened and closed some doors. Like, I do not want to be a nurse. Don't get me wrong. I love nurses. They do amazing thing for the medical field, but I just couldn't do it. And I passed out actually one time watching a nurse take out a chest tube. Wasn't my proudest moment, but you know what? It happens to everyone. But I've learned not only that it's important to be confident in what you're gonna say and be strong, but also to understand that it's okay to make mistakes. Like, we're humans. We are allowed to make mistakes, because if we were perfect, we wouldn't learn as much as we do now. And if I'm not gonna lie, CTE's kind of changed because like this year has been a rough year for me. I'm not gonna lie, it's been some up and downs, family stuff, just personal stuff, but the one thing that keeps me going is the wanting to be in medical, and that's because of BTA. So being able to get myself into those classes and expand my brain and knowledge all in medical has helped me get through this year, and I'm really excited to graduate with the medical career cord. So yeah, and here's Daniel.
Hello, my name is Michaela Mitchell. I'm a sophomore. I'm part of the Business Leadership Program and the Medical Academy. Leadership has helped me in the Medical Academy by teaching me employment skills such as problem solving, teamwork, and integrity. Leadership has also taught me presentation skills like public speaking, body language, and audience engagement. I'm passionate about growing sources of strength and helping event planning. The leadership skills I'm learning will help me in my medical career path. In the medical academy, I'm looking forward to taking the advanced classes such as search and rescue, and health rotations. Like these, have you taken? Yeah, yes. I think these two have taken. With the help of BTA's Business Leadership and Medical Academy, I'll be confident enough to learn a system to become a nurse. And here's Daniel.
Hello, Daniel. I'm a sophomore in our business leadership program. I'm the vice president of our school's DECA club. Unfortunately, like we said earlier, KB was not able to make it. Our wonderful co-president who actually started our school's DECA club I think in her sophomore year, it started off with 2 kids, and this year it has about 21. Amazing amazing growth, and we're hoping to go to, or we are going to state by the end of the month with our written manuals that we've been working on since the beginning of our years. Hopefully to make it to internationals in Florida at the end of this year. Some of the skills I learned when I was in DECA were people skills, communication skills, and overall presentation skills, being able to take in information and teach it and show it to other people. I'd say that our school's remarkable difference, as kind of advertised on there, is our production business. Our school not only promotes business as a class, but also gives you the opportunity to be in a business. What our school does is it will have a business or production line in one of our rooms where we'll take orders from local businesses or local schools, where we will make custom shirts for them, kind of like this one from our school. I made this one myself. So we'll take orders from them, vinyl shirts, and whatever they may order from us. We'll do screens, we'll do embroidery and hats and so much more. A lot of the skills I learned inside of that program were things like marketing, being able to get your product out there to let other businesses know that you exist. Quality control, being able to make a large amount of such product in a way, being able to make a large amount of a product that's sellable and a good product. Team management team, being able to lead a team. I'm in charge of the vinyl heat press, so I will organize a team to measure and make sure these are centered and nice so that we can press the vinyl down and do it all in a sort of line of order so that we can get good quality control. And finance, being able to know how much we're making, how much it's going to cost, and overall just money. All of these skills that I learned inside of both DECA and our production business are all transferable to any career path I may choose in the future, whether it's business law and or entrepreneurship. And back to our lovely co-pres, Faith.
Thank you. So I would just like to say a final thank you to you all for inviting us. And we would like to extend our gratitude to all of you who are here and also virtually. If you guys ever would like to come and get a personalized tour from our leadership, we would love to have you. As well as at the end of the year when we have our Wilderness First Aid students, you can see them in action. I believe you came last year, I remember, yeah. It's a really fun experience for our students, and being able to see them in action is always a great joy. So again, we just like to thank you for hearing from our small school. Thank you.
And before you all go, good luck in your competition and later this month. And Phoebe, I'm glad to see that you're still pursuing the valedictorian opportunity. I know last year when she was a junior, she was in competition with the person is right now currently second. And I think the last time I visited the school, I asked, were you still pursuing that? So great job on continuing to do that. Yep.
All right, thank you, BTA students. Really appreciate you being here. And I just want to do a shout out to Dr. Lakeisha Clark for her leadership at the school. She's a rock star. And then also, you heard two teachers, there are two different programs are represented tonight. So Kelly Peters, she's an amazing CTE business teacher, and she supports the DECA program. And then also Dr. Marty Cadino is just phenomenal doctor leading that program. I mean, how lucky we'd have that. So now I want to introduce the Caldera team. So Chloe and Mr. Boyd and Becky Tucker.
Good evening. Thanks for having us here. My name is Chris Boyd. I'm the principal of Caldera High School. With me are two pretty amazing human beings. To my left is Becky Tucker. She is an instructor in our business program of study. Becky is a nationally board certified teacher. She serves on numerous local and statewide committees. And she was also the 23-24 Economics Teacher of the Year. And I could say a lot more. Additionally with me is Chloe Grisson. Again, Chloe is a part of the Student Voice Council. She was also recognized last April as a champion for students based on the story that we want to tell tonight. And as a side note, she was nominated for that recognition by her sister, which makes the story all the much better. But to start this story, we wanted to give Chloe an opportunity to kind of talk about her current junior year. She's a junior at Caldera. She's currently enrolled in 2 AP classes. I think it's supposed to be Business Management 5 or 6, which is a COCC dual credit. So Chloe, if you could tell us a little bit about why you chose the CTE program and AP classes and how you see them impacting your future.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. I'm still recovering from being sick, so I do apologize about my voice. If you can see in the photo, that is me freshman year wearing the same dress. That was me winning at state for DECA. So what the Ben Tech Academy students were mentioning, I'm about to go as well with my business students led by Miss Tucker. I chose CTE as a freshman, trying to get ahead of all the other students and prepare for college. I saw DECA as a good way to put on my resume, but I didn't realize how much I would fall in love with it and the benefits that followed with it. I have been enrolled in AP dual credit classes all 3 years, and it is Business Management 5. So basically, our DECA program, every semester, you take an intro to business class, and then you can be in our business management class, which is basically a chance for DECA students to explore their interests in business and prepare for state. And so I've been taking that class for 5 semesters now, which is insane to think about. And it's truly helped me in my future. I would never have decided to choose to go to college for business without the help with Ms. Tucker or the DECA program. And it truly is, I think, a one in a lifetime opportunity. Not every student gets to have the same high school experience as I got. And I think it's truly because of the CTE, the student store, and the amazing teachers that shaped it. So I'll pass it on to Ms. Tucker to explain a little more.
So part of the process by which we put students in control of their learning at Caldera is finding ways for them to engage in meaningful and relevant projects as a part of their CTE program. And Becky's going to speak to that approach.
Thank you. What Chloe didn't mention was she got a 99.5 as a freshman out of 100, which is unheard of at state, and she got into nationals that way. She did well, yeah. So that's how she started as a freshman, and you can see that that drove her interest to find a way to communicate that learning elsewhere. And we give kids the opportunity to do projects, and those project-based learning opportunities are authentic learning opportunities that they get to select and choose for themselves so that it's meaningful. And Chloe's going to explain what that process looked like for her, but it just prepares our leaders, our future leaders, to grow future leaders. And it's student-driven, which is absolutely amazing.
So for DECA, the first year you basically do what's called role plays, where you compete. And then as a sophomore, I got the decision to plan an event. And so I was looking through the list of events and kind of the data for a school for college and career readiness through the Youth Truth Survey. And like there was the option of like a fashion show or like to do like a bake sale. And then I saw college and career readiness, and it just kind of stood out to me where I was like, this is something I'm really passionate about. I would love, like I've been to like dozens of college and career fairs. I would love to like plan my own. And funny enough that Stephen Duvall and Jess Calbreth were wanting to implement a presentation for School Links as well as a kickoff for the district. And so through them, we decided that this was a dire need in our district to create a college and career night for Ben Lapine students. And so last year, how I won the champion for students for April is planning this event that had over, we want to say 500 to 600. We capped at 400. And so this event truly was kind of one of the bigger moments in my life when it came to how proud I was and my family. I can't, it's one of those things I can't stress enough. That was one of those things I wish every student had a choice on, like to explore more options. And so This for sure isn't for everybody, but the goal of this event when I was presenting it was that a student could come and go to there was one booth where they learned something about what they wanted to do in the future. And so last year we had a presentation from School Links, we had food trucks, we had over 40 careers from Central Oregon come and talk to students. And then we had 20 COCC programs interacting with students on kind of the different measures on their programs. There was a law program that put glasses on the students' eyes and they would show them the different measures they would do. So this year we are having it on March 12th from 5 to 7 p.m. This will have all Oregon public universities, which is huge from last year. We're putting OPU and the Life and Career Readiness Night on the same day to increase engagement for the students looking to learn more about colleges and to learn about careers in the field. We'll have many trade schools. We'll have Grand Canyon University as well. And then we, so far, some of the businesses that have showed interest is COYC, Red Cross, even Ben Lapine's going to be there showcasing some of the offerings we have post-secondary. And the Life and Career Readiness Night really helped shape Ben Lapine's focus on life and career readiness. For the Student Voice Council, I really voiced that college and career should be a main focus, that the point of high school is to ready students in their career field. So I hope you guys can make it and join us on March 12th.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that as a principal at Caldera, in a school that is truly in its second year with all 4 grade levels, the focus on college and career has been an emphasis from the beginning. But to have events like this that we can house at Caldera and really showcase for our community and for the students across our community the importance of college career, this has been a huge event, and much kudos go to Chloe, who is now working with a sophomore student, Jonathan, to kind of pass the torch as it may be, and that I hope that you know this will be your legacy moving forward every time we host a college and career event at Caldera. So well done. Just to close, what I wanted to share is really the nights this part of the presentation is about sharing the importance of realistic and real life opportunities for students to experience leadership growth, whether that be in the medical field or health sciences or construction, or in this case, business. What you see up on the slide right now is around our media center, we've been posting these I've Been Accepted flyers. And this is just whenever a student gets into a program or college, they're able to come into our Future Center and post up there to kind of show hey, this is where I've been accepted. And many of those you'll see, and this is what I want to study. And then when we move into April, these will come down and the I'm going posters will go up, and that's when it gets really fun. But I wanted to highlight on here that there's qualitative data here that's often missed in these types of conversations. I pride myself in knowing all of the kids at Caldera, and I love them all. And I can tell you when I look at these I've Been Accepted, for example, in the upper right-hand corner, I know that Michael has taken, I don't know how many credits of business, but he might be in business 12 at this point. So it is not surprising to any one of us that know Michael that he's been accepted into Wazoo to study business administration, that the things that he's been passionate about, his leadership within DECA is translating to an actual, this is what I'm doing post-graduation. And really for all of the stories that are on each of these flyers, that is replicated over and over and over again. There's one whole wall of just all of the schools that Shelby has gotten into, and on every single school that she's gotten into, it says, I want to study nursing. And the reason for that is she did rounds last year like the other students that are here tonight. She saw a C-section, she worked in different parts of the hospital, and every time one of those experiences happened, she came back to school. Electric would be the way that I would describe her response. So if you get a chance to visit Caldera and you're able to see where students are being accepted into right now, there's more than a story to the school that they're attending. Those notes of what they want to study, they correlate very, very strongly to the programs that we've been able to offer at Caldera. And I think that's something that Ms. Tucker and the rest of our CTE program and all of our teachers are very, very proud of. So again, thank you for having us here tonight. Thank you, Chloe. Thank Thank you, Ms. Tucker.
Dr. Clark, Principal Boyd, Chris, before y'all leave, thank you for the excellent work. Katie, I want to thank you all for bringing all the different people here to be able to let us know what's going on. It's okay to brag about what we're doing. It's okay to say the goodness of what we're doing in our community because we always hear the bad stuff. I want to hear some of the better things. And personally, just me, I can speak for me, I really don't think that's necessary. And thank you so much for the information. Directors, do you have any questions that you would like to direct for Katie and her team and to the people who were here tonight?
Quick question. Thank you for this, for organizing. I think you may have mentioned this, but some of that missing data with regard to the program enrollment trends, you're going to add that, or one of the things I'm really hopeful about is the kind of progression that's been happening, particularly for ELs with access to CTE courses as well as students who have disabilities. And so maybe as time goes on, we could see those updated. That'd be great.
Yes, we'll work on that. You bet, Cameron.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Yeah, on the dual credit, I'm assuming all the dual credit classes are free to students through the
That is
district?
a great assumption, but no.
No, it's not. Oh.
Unfortunately. No, it depends on the college. Generally, COCC is about $25 a credit. Some colleges don't charge at all.
Right.
Others charge $10 a credit, so it really varies. We really try to work with students and families, though, if there is a need to cover the college dual credit if needed. But yeah, they're not all free, unfortunately, but
Wow.
huge reduction in price, honestly. I think it's about $190-something at COCC per credit.
Right.
So if you take it to one of our high schools, it's $25, I believe, is the current. So it's less, but not free, unfortunately.
I've seen a lot of statewide data on dual credit. It seems that over the past 10 years or so that the underrepresented students have been significantly lower numbers taking dual credit. Do we have any data for Ben Lapine?
The last time I saw data on that was probably about 4 years ago, and we were not seeing that, but I haven't seen
Okay.
recent data, so we can certainly work on getting that for you as well.
I'd be curious to see that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you.
Another quick question. So I was looking at the AP list and then the IB list, and so many different options for IB when it comes to social studies, ELA, world languages, etc. One thing I noticed a difference in is art, art history, or IB art in general. This may not be the best time to ask with where we are with budget-wise, etc. Is that coming down the line sometime, do you think?
Well, we do offer AP art history. As I mentioned.
IB, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd
So
have to ask
I
about
saw
that.
it with AP.
Oh, you saw it with AP,
those
yeah.
options, but I'm curious, is that coming down the line for IB?
I can check on that for you. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Somebody making a note of all these questions I need to answer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
I'm writing
Katie.
it down.
Directors virtually, do you have any questions? All right, well, thank you again, Katie. Thank you
Okay,
so
thank you.
much.
Just
Thank
want to
for
give
your time.
another quick shout out to Chloe. Thank you for being here, Chloe.
Yeah, thank you, Chloe. Yes.
And to Becky Tucker, superstar teacher at Caldera, and also Mr. Boyd, principal at Caldera. It's a huge job to be a high school principal, and I really appreciate his leadership. So thank you, Caldera team.
All right. Now we'll turn it over to Dr. Cook. He's going to be taking care of the next two agenda items. After he does this report for policy and regulation, he's going to be going right into the superintendent report. Thank you, Dr. Cook.
Thank you, Chair LeGrand. Boy, that's a tough act to follow right there, for sure. We have just one administrative policy going out for review and public feedback this month. The policy is IGBHD-AR, Program and Instructional Activity Exemptions. We've updated that policy to align with our current district practices as well as alignment with OSBA's recommended sample policy. We've also renamed and recoded it from an administrative regulation to an administrative policy. We'll be accepting feedback on this policy until February 25th. If you have any information, you could check that out on our website. Glad to answer any questions if you have on that policy before we move on. All right, if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and move into my superintendent's report. I have 3 items I want to update you all on. The first one is, as you know, this is kind of the beginning of the budgetary season, especially as we are entering the kind of I would say not midway point, but definitely fully into the legislative session for the long session. And we're hearing lots of feedback about things updating like accountability from the state with regards to school district performance. We're also hearing some conversations about the governor's budget being well received and an interest in potentially investigating how we're going to be funding special education in a little bit of a different manner. As you know, that's one of the areas of our own legislative priority, and we're excited to hear that there's some interest with legislators to potentially talk about investing more funds with that. And the 2 primary areas that school districts are being noticed in is that the 11% cap on student identification for funding reasons at the state level through the state school fund, and also reimbursing the costs of high cost disability costs across the district. Right now, as you know, we only get about 40% of those dollars refunded. And so to hear that those 2 things might be being a high topic of interest at the legislative level is good news for us. The second thing I want to update you on is the work that we're doing right now. You know, we have a pretty direct strategic plan focus on where we're going and this idea that students and staff are thriving across the district. And we've been working pretty diligently with we call it our Learning Council, to really break out the detail that's happening on that presentation. We'll be glad to share that here with you shortly on what that looks like. It's a very detailed kind of approach, and it looks at what we'll be doing to make sure that all of the aspects of that strategic priority planning is lined up with the work that's going on in the system. And then the last thing I want to share with you, the third item is the Youth Truth data. With Youth Truth, we just closed that window, and we're going to be taking that data on as an administrative team. All of our building administrators are going to be diving into that next Wednesday in a professional development opportunity for our building leaders. And we're really excited to be looking at that. As you know, those are going to be those points of feedback that our students and staff and families are giving us in the Youth Truth survey will be points that we will be driving decisions for school improvement over the next year. And so this is the starting point of that feedback loop. We're really excited to dive in with our leaders on that. So I'm glad to stand for any questions if you have anything you'd like to dig further on.
Superintendent Cook, I just want to know, with the Youth Truth data being available, when can the board expect to see the data?
Soon. I would guess that we're going to need a couple of months to unpack this. This is brand new, but we will get this to you I would say in 2 months or so.
Okay, and can we also, when we get the data, get last year so we can compare the data, since we never received the full data from every school last year?
Yeah, right now we're doing it as an aggregate, and so we will be able to have longitudinal data over time for all the years that we've been taking this assessment.
Okay, but so we are not going to get the data as a board, because I know we've asked for it before a couple of times.
Say that again,
when we had our meeting, I think last month, was it the work session, a couple board members mentioned that they had wanted the reports from last year, but we never got the full reports. And so, and the building leaders get a report from their schools, correct?
Correct.
So my question is, as a board, can we access that information from this year, last year, so we can see the data, not just, what's presented to us in a few questions like we've had at past board meetings?
Yes, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, we can get you that data.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Director Tatum. All right. We'll now open up the floor for board comment. And starting from my far left.
Thank you, Chair LeGrand. Well, I just really appreciate the presentations tonight. It's so helpful for me to learn what's going on in the district and see some of that excellent work. And especially hearing from the students. That was fabulous. I am so impressed with that group of students. So some great work being done there. I was pleased to see the resolution 1985. I'm thrilled the full board supports it. We need to be vocal about supporting those values, especially now in this environment. And then finally, I got a chance to visit Lapine High School last week, and I met with Principal Scott and had a great conversation and learned a lot about what's going on in Lapine High School, and very impressed with the work he's doing there and building new programs, and especially in the CTE area like we talked about tonight. So excited to see what's happening in South County. Thank you.
Couple of things. As always, love having the kids here. And remember, you can always ask questions too. And the presentations were great. To hear from our teachers and principals and kids is just priceless. That's what keeps us going. And I would like to call out the communication department, because KTVZ is now featuring one of our CTE programs each evening on the 5 o'clock news. So nice job. Thanks. We can use a little brag.
Echo the previous comments about great presentations, very helpful to know what's going on and keep us in the loop. And I also want to express gratitude for the SROs we have in our district, and in my being in schools and talking to students and families and being at events. I certainly appreciate safety, but I really, really appreciate the relationship building that I see happening with students, families, and staff. That's really important to me, and I see it in action. And then also just the idea of modeling law enforcement career opportunities that I see for our students. And I'm grateful for that partnership that's happening with Ben PD and Deschutes County Sheriff's Office, and just seeing that in action has been really, I appreciate it. And I like to see the full circle here of seeing folks being appreciated in front of the board and the public. And I think that's it. Thank you very much.
I wanted to give a major shout out to our bus drivers the last couple weeks, transporting our kids safely to and from schools. I can't imagine that's a particularly easy job on a regular day, let alone when the streets are sheets of ice. So I also want to appreciate the staff who ensure sidewalks and parking lots are cleared and floors are dried in our schools. Also last week was National School Counseling Week. So I've seen firsthand the energy, time, and commitment that the team over at Bear Creek dedicates to our students' well-being, and it truly goes a long way. So thank you all. And I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret of mine. At one point in my life, I thought I was going to be a pastor, so y'all are gonna have to indulge me for a moment. I want to acknowledge the whiplash of executive orders, temporary freezing of funds. Literally, funds to educate our youth are being ripped away. I've lost track of how many times we've been sucker punched over the last few weeks, and we're all feeling it. Students and families are not okay. Staff is not okay. I've been reflecting on how the district came together during the COVID crisis, and I love the way leadership is implementing lessons that were learned into our current reality. And y'all know I'm from the East Coast. I'm also an evidence-based person, and we have evidence that this district knows how to come together during a crisis. And I want to elevate the resolution to affirm rights of undocumented students, and the resolution affirming gender identity, expression, and equity for transgender and gender expansive students and staff. You know, in the future, Ben Lapine Schools is going to look back at this time when there are significant attempts to divide our community And there's no doubt that we doubled down on our commitment to embrace difference as a source of strength, that we said, nuh-uh, not in our backyard. At Ben Lapine Schools, we choose love. We choose to pick each other up. We choose to be each other's glimmers. Don't always look for what's bad. Look for what's good. As someone who is brown and non-binary and short, I know how hard it is to look for what's good. And I promise you there's plenty. I'm not talking about grand, monumental, center stage type of good. I'm talking about the ordinary, teeny, tiny glimmers in our everyday lives that spark joy. It doesn't take much to create a spark. And I'm gonna let y'all in on another little secret of mine. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world is ironing my shirts. I can't tell you how happy it makes me to listen to a new favorite song on repeat while shoveling the sidewalk. You know, with all the snow that we've been getting, I've also been finding so much joy in watching neighbors skiing their dogs down the street. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I know the severity of what's going on with immigration. For some folks in our community, we're talking about life and death. I know some of our students leave for school every dang morning not knowing the certainty of seeing their parents at the end of the day. I know racial profiling of Black people in America will increase. I'll never forget the time when I went to a concert at the amphitheater, and guess who were the two people in our group to have their bags searched? Us two, right here. Coincidence? Our Black and brown babies deserve better. The Trevor Project's 2023 U.S. National Survey on the mental health of LGBTQ young people found that 41% seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year, including roughly half of transgender and non-binary youth. This is not a surprise. This is where the freaking rubber hits the road. When culture comes down plummeting on our babies, we're not just talking about somebody being sad. Again, we're talking about life and death. There may be a time or two when you feel the world is out of control, and you would not be wrong. And yet, you still have the power to make a million choices every day. So choose joy. Lately, I've been thinking of joy as if it's an IV drip. It doesn't matter how small the dose, just keep it coming. Choose tears, choose laughter, choose self-care. These choices aren't ignoring what's going on. They are about knowing you need to rest so you can show up completely in abundance when someone else needs to rest. They are about knowing that Ben Lapine Schools can be a safer place. These choices are about knowing that Ben Lapine Schools will get through this together. So soften up, lean into your God-given privilege, and extend a little compassion to each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Directors who are virtual, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I am going to read something from Lauren Brantz that totally builds on just what Kina said. And thank you, Kina, so much for those words. In a time of hate, love is an act of resistance. In a time of fear, faith is an act of resistance. In a time of misinformation, education is an act of resistance. In a time of poor leadership, community is an act of resistance. In a time like this, joy is an act of resistance. Resist, resist, resist. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Tatum. Director Douglas?
I will not attempt to follow all of my esteemed colleagues, but really thank everyone for both their gratefulness for our speakers and everyone who takes time out of their days to come and speak to us at our school board meetings and to the public. And thank you for my fellow directors and our consistency and commitment to the students and staff and community at Ben Lapine. So thank you.
All right, and I will close this with this. Yes, it is still Black History Month. Don't forget that we still are celebrating many of the accomplishments and inventions of our our African American and Black people here in our country. I also want to commend many of the teachers who are involved in the door decoration competition for Ben Lapine that will be announced at a celebration dinner at COCC on February 25th. So the winner of the high school, middle school, and elementary competitions will be announced there. So if you want to know and see and come out and represent those schools, please make sure that please let me know so we can definitely make sure you get you on the agenda. Other than that, our next board meeting is scheduled for May 11th. Again, thank you all for your commitments to being here. Please be safe on the road as you drive home. And thank you for your kind words. Have a great rest of your day. And this meeting is adjourned.